Hi everybody. This is my first video where I'm tackling certain topics and things concerning my life experience that I want to share with all of you. And let me start by saying thank you for being here with me, and I hope that what I have to share makes sense to you. And also, let me see how this project goes, and I have plenty of ideas for it, but I would like to also hear from you in the comments. See what you think about it. Let me start by letting you know a couple of days ago I had a very interesting dream that made me reflect about life and about the meaning of those moments right before you die, because that particular dream was very vivid and it tackled that particular instance. I will explain how it happened. It was a very complex dream. It had like two parts. The first part, I find myself in a subway, not in any particular subway, not that a subway of a city I know of. It was in New York City, it was in Newark. It was a completely different subway that I was in. And as I traveled, I was looking at everybody, and I was just thinking, wow, all these people, they do this routine of traveling in the subway every morning and then coming back in the afternoon to their homes. And that's just the routine of their lives. And as I was seeing everybody and just taking a look at everybody, something very unexpected happened. The people in the subway started talking to each other. They started greeting to each other very familiarly, and that was very surprising. Seeing everybody, saying hello and talking and so on. And whoa. And then one lady approached me and said, "Oh, excuse me, young man, but is there any reason why you're not wearing pants?" And then I look down and I see myself. By the way, the lady told me young man. I guess that in my dream she was looking at me and she thought I was a young man. Well, I don't know, but I just looked down and it turned out that I was in the subway without any pants. I didn't know it. The dream was so vivid that I didn't know why I didn't have any pants. So I said, "Oh, I know. Thank you very much for letting me know." But that was odd. All of a sudden, the subway stops. I get off the subway car. I go to the stairs. I go up. I went up to take the bus I always take home. This is in my dream, and again, it's very different from my. I have a car. I go in my car to these places. Everywhere I go. But in my dream, I was just going up, taking a bus, I go to where the bus is, to the bus stop. The bus is there waiting for us. I get in the bus. I remember that I took, the back, really at the back of the bus, close to a window, in the rightmost part of the bus, when you enter in the rightmost part at the end, one of those seats, and I was, in full view of the street and of the sky. The bus starts its course, and I'm looking up, and I'm seeing the moon, beautiful out there, so beautiful, full moon, and I have the movement of the bus. I'm looking at the moon, and then all of a sudden I see the moon. It starts turning dark. First it started a few lines in the center, then the edges of the moon, and then from the middle of the moon, patterns started arising, like very weird characters coming up in the middle, and it was turning dark. It's like when you see something that, for example, if you're cooking something and then you see that it starts burning on one side and it starts burning on the other, and so on. That was the way it was looking at. And then I'm just saying, oh my goodness, what is going on here? Then I started seeing the moon breaking apart. First, it started engorging itself. The darkness started taking over the moon. It started engorging. I could see the moon breaking apart into pieces, and then it exploded. It exploded. I saw it explode. I saw big chunks of the moon coming apart, pieces of it coming in to Earth. It was very slow, but I imagined that it was probably traveling at a high speed, because in order for it to come to Earth, these pieces were breaking apart from the moon at the speed that I would see that slow, but I know it was fast. These pieces were coming into Earth really fast. And then I'm calling into everybody, hey, you guys, did you see that? The moon just exploded. The bus, nobody was paying attention. Nobody was even caring what was going on. And then all of a sudden I see one big chunk that is getting closer and closer and closer to us, and it fell, and then two other smaller pieces were coming straight at us. The bus was running, but these two pieces were getting closer and closer and closer until they fell on Earth, and I saw the explosion these two pieces did, and I said, all right, this is the end. This is my end. As I saw the explosion, I was waiting for the final impact, the shock wave from the piece of the moon landing in, and I closed my eyes, waiting for that shock wave to end my life, because I knew that from that event I wasn't going to survive. Then all of a sudden, time passed, I see nothing, and when I opened my eyes, what is my surprise? I was no longer in the bus. I was just sitting in a table by myself. Nobody was on the table, and there was a piece of meatloaf cut from a huge meatloaf in the middle of the table, and alongside was some mashed potatoes, There was a small container with gravy, and I had the plate, and I was hungry. I'm always hungry, but in the dream I was hungry, so I decided, okay, let me get this piece of meatloaf. Let me get a tiny bit of mashed potatoes, a tiny bit of the gravy on top of the mashed potato, and I started eating. I was hungry, but I wasn't, just eating like I regularly do, like pigging out or something. No, I was just eating normally. And then all of a sudden, I woke up. That was it. But I continue thinking about that particular moment where the chunk of the moon struck the earth, and that explosion created that shock wave that to me looked like was going to end my life. And when I closed my eyes, I was just waiting for it. I said to myself, this is the end. So it made me think, is that the final moments? Is that how the final moments are? You don't even realize what happened. And when it's that close, you just close your eyes and wait for it to see. And I'm talking about those who unfortunately lose their lives in the midst of a catastrophe, like an earthquake or something like a landslide, something like that. Because let me tell you something, I went through with my wife, who died of cancer 5 years ago. That's a very traumatic event, but that was an event that made us fight for her life. I was part of that fight. We fought together in order to live. When it's something so sudden as this, it makes me wonder. Also, I will have to say, I have to work a little bit on myself, because during all these crises, even though it was a dream, I never thought about God or anything. Maybe that's a piece I was missing. Because I like to pray, I'm religious, and I like to think about God. But at that moment, when I thought that my life was over, I didn't think of anything. There was no thought. Maybe it's just a dream, okay? Part of that oniric environment you're in. But it's something that I think I would have to work on. Anyways, usually when you have those types of dreams, it makes you think. Also, the fact that I didn't have any pants in the subway, I cannot quite get what that means. Anyways, well, folks, that's what I wanted to share with you. That's what I'm thinking. It would be something for us to reflect. Those last minutes in the midst of a terrifying catastrophe. And our last minutes, of course, we will never know until something like that happens to us. But the dream was so vivid that I thought about sharing that with you guys. And if that has ever happened to you, or if you have had a vivid dream like this you want to share, please put your ideas over here in this channel. I'll see what other weird dream I come up with that I can talk to you and share with you. But thanks for being here. Thanks for watching. And I will hope to see you in another event. By the way, don't forget to subscribe. It's free. and is something that it makes me know if you're really watching and if you care for the content of this. And let me know with your comments if you want me to tackle some other topic or there is anything that you would like me to refer to. I'd be happy to. Thank you very much for being here, and I'll see you next time. Bye.